Are you done with recommendations from people who get scared just driving past the billboard for a haunted corn maze?
Eat shit, Harold.
If you're bored of movies that don't make your skin crawl, here's a list of creepy and underseen favorites for real horror hounds. Movies your hometown video store clerk thought were too scary to recommend to you. And some thrillers that will gaslight you harder than your ex.
You can't be anywhere near me.
So, prepare to be swept away by some of these underseen spooky bangers. I'm gonna go accidentally trap myself in the psych ward. Y'all need anything? Our first film, Unsane, will send you into the complete existential crisis you didn't even know you were craving.
I finished my homework.
In this movie, Sawyer Valentini, played by Claire Foy, is committed to a psych ward against her will, but there's also something else going on.
What am I doing in here?
Probably the most insane thing about Unsane is that the director, Steven Soderbergh, filmed the entire movie on an iPhone 7 Plus. I literally have an iPhone 7 Plus, and the other day I was complaining to my crush about not being able to take a good selfie because of the camera quality, and he was like, I don't think it has anything to do with your camera quality. What do you think he meant by that?
Nothing.
Let me know in the comments, please. Look out for my new 180-part feature-length film made entirely on TikTok coming in 2021.
That doesn't sound like much of a life.
No.
To make things even more fun, Claire is joined in the hospital by a familiar face, her stalker. And the thing is, yelling about this kind of thing at a psych ward is only going to make you fit right in.
This won't work.
Scene after scene, you will question the protagonist's sanity, wondering constantly which reality is the real reality. The tension doesn't let up for the entire film and will stay with you long after it ends.
You know who I'm talking about. He's here.
The next movie we have is an oldie. It's a blend of horror, sci-fi, and controversy. It's called God Told Me To. God Told Me To is also the answer my mom gives people when they ask her why she got sober.
Didn't know about that.
The film came out in 1976 and was directed by Larry Cohen, who is known for taking it there. Larry, my little rebel, has never been afraid to tackle taboo subjects and court controversy, and this movie is a massive part of that legacy.
A lot of people down there would like to know why you did this.
It was a nice day.
God Told Me To is about a sexy New York police detective that tries to tie together a rampage of killings.
Look, I can prove it.
Each mass murderer has the same answer to give the detective when asked why they did what they did, which is,
God told me to.
Today, this is a movie that any NYU student would recommend in a convo to one-up you at a party, meaning it's sort of like an underground cult classic, but when God Told Me To came out, it bombed. In fact, it did so poorly that they decided to rename the movie Demon and re-release it. That didn't make the movie more popular, but in my opinion, and many others' opinions, it was and always be an absolute bop of a movie. This is the kind of disturbing film that's just close enough to real life to really freak people out. It was never popular in theatrical release, which may prove that not every horror movie is meant for date night. And hey, only God can judge you, so maybe keep God Told Me To between you and your maker.
Why did you pick up the knife? God told me to.
This next conundrum of a movie is great for fans of self-sabotage, such as myself, and will change the way you see yourself forever. Triangle is a brain-twisting, horror, sci-fi-ish movie about a group of rich-ass friends who seek refuge on a mysterious ship after a traumatic yachting accident. While I personally have a hard time finding sympathy for anyone that's ever stepped foot on a yacht, this accident was pretty terrible, leaving the boat completely overturned. Thankfully and miraculously, for some reason, a giant ship happens to be passing by as they're vibing on what's left of their yacht, and they decide to jump aboard and look for help.
Hello?
After they're looking around the boat for a little, they realize no one is on the ship. Literally no thoughts, boat empty. At first, there's completely horrifying havoc, and as they try to make sense of everything, not only eerie,
These are my keys.
but also life-threatening things start happening. All that time trying to survive, and they had a better chance surviving on their overturned yacht. Yacht problems are not the most relatable issue for my friends, but the characters are strongly written and it makes the situation really compelling. If you're like me, you're a gorehead who also wants a more cerebral element that completely messes with your sense of reality, and this is the Bop to Cop. These Miami beach rats turned survivalists will have you shouting at your screen because you know they can definitely hear you.
You're not me.
Next, we have Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Yes, this is a newer movie, and it got promoted a lot, so it's not necessarily underseen, but it definitely didn't get the hype it deserved. Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark is the movie adaptation of a series of books by Alvin Schwartz that was released in the 80s and 90s. They were a huge part of my childhood, my friends' childhoods, and honestly probably even yours. They were especially known for their haunting, creepy, effed up illustrations by Stephen Gamble that broke me as a child. It's definitely only the books that broke me and literally nothing else. The movie starts off with some hot teens breaking into a creepy old house owned by Sarah Bellows, who, when she was young, wrote a book that caused many deaths. The kids uncover this book, which at first they think is a big old Halloween prank, but then guess what? Here the hell we go again, shaking my head. A lot of people were very excited yet very reluctant to watch this movie out of worry that something that shaped them as a child might have been ruined or watered down. But people with open minds ready to have some nostalgic spooks were rewarded with, yes, another banger that will have your brain firing on all cylinders. Overdahl and his team masterfully stayed faithful to the drawings when recreating the movie's creatures, a la Guillermo del Toro. Not only do they look like the spooky sketches we remember, they might even be scarier. I feel like a lot of people refused to watch the movie because it was an adaptation, but Overdahl, the cast, and the rest of the crew made a movie adaptation of a beloved book, paired with Del Toro's famously freakish monsters that I genuinely believe left people who gave it a shot satisfied and wanting more creepy creatures.
Wait, is there another story?